Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Friday Night Bingo. And I'm Sandy, and we have David back again. David was with us a couple weeks ago with the U.S. Governors Project that is doing really, really well. But I wanted to have him back for one of my favorite projects, and that is Classic Disney. Give me 1 second. Yay! I made it. Yay!
Sorry, I'm so late.
Perfect timing. Perfect timing. So David's with the Classic Disney, and everybody should have the link for the project. I will put it up one more time. And see, now it's my turn for my dog to bark. Anyone's dog barked at the early one. That was fun. So we've got the Classic Disney space, and I'm going to make sure that everybody has the bingo card. We're going to have 2 bingo games this time, and I'll explain them in just a minute. But while you guys are getting the bingo card up, I am going to bring the Classic Disney page up. And this is a really interesting project. For those of you that don't know, you hear a lot of projects with WikiTree that are extremely high level. And that might be the United States project, the Italy project, the Southern Colonies project, things like that, the Latin America project. This is what I like to call a space page project. And it's really, really cool. Oh, excuse me, barky dog. It's really, really cool because David literally thought this idea up and created it. And it has such a fantastic following, helping you create profiles of the voice actors, the animators as well, of the classic movies. So you pick a movie, I believe, once a month, and then everybody can join in and help you fill out the profiles for those actors, right?
Right. We were adding a movie a month. We've stopped that at this point, and we've left it. We got so far behind that right now it's kind of a free-for-all. You can go in and work on whatever movie you'd like. We're no longer assigning one to the month. But yeah, you're right. I started this. This was I don't think it was my first free space page, but it's the first free space page that I made public. And it started out just because I had met Adriana Cosoletti, who was the voice of Snow White many years ago when she was still alive. And I just got curious to see if she was on WikiTree. She wasn't, so I created a profile for her and started researching her family. And it turned out she came from a really fascinating family. Her mother was an opera singer. Her sister was an opera singer who married, I don't know if he would consider himself a mobster, but from everything that I read, it sounded like he was. He was arrested and put on trial numerous times, but I'm not sure he ever actually went to prison. But that was fun, just reading the stories in the newspapers. And I just had a really good time with that. And then I thought to myself, I wonder who did the voices of the 7 dwarfs. So I created a free space page just for myself so that I could research the cast of the Snow White film. And then just on a whim, I decided to put it on G2Gs and said, anybody that wants to come help me, come on over. And I got such a good response to that and people asking for more movies that we started adding films to the list. And currently we have 16 films. We call this the Classic Disney site or project because we stop at 1977. That was that year they released Winnie the Pooh. And when we start to get after 1977, we start to get a lot of living cast members, people that are still alive. And since those projects we can't work on publicly, we decided not to go any further than that. But we go from 1937 Snow White up to Winnie the Pooh in 1977 and all the animated films in between.
I got a quick question for you, real quick. So since you're speaking of that, so we have both parents worked on Fantasia as artists. Okay. Would that qualify? for this?
Okay, so we added a separate link to artists. We haven't focused on that, but we have what was called the 9 Old Men, which were Walt Disney's top animators in the early days. And we've added a couple more that people have just requested. So if you've got their information and you want to add them onto the list, it's real simple to put a link there, and people can see that.
So you're even going deeper. It's not just the people that you see on the screen. The Classic Disney Project now is adding the behind the scenes, the artists. Right. That's awesome.
Right. Yeah. So, I've kind of had my handfuls. We have now, let me see the number here so I get it correctly. So on voice actors alone, we have 245 individuals. So no, I'm going to take that back. It's 196 individuals. When we add the others, we're up to 245. So we've got almost 200 voice actors. So we've kind of slowed down on adding any more at this point. But if somebody has somebody that they want, they have a film they'd like to add, we can go ahead and do that. So that's real simple. And then we also have a page for the Mouseketeers.
That one I do have up. That one, give me a second. That one is a big deal in my family. That was a big deal. I got in towards the end of it, but I swear to you that my 2 brothers thought they were going to marry Annette. So,
that's so cute.
And Annette, by the way, is not connected.
Oh,
she's got Italian roots. So if anybody has Italian experience,
Italy project.
Yeah,
but she's got at least last I checked, she wasn't. She's been up there for a couple of years, I believe.
Let's see. Not connected.
Not connected. So we've got some family up there, but not enough to link her yet.
Okay, so for those of you that were official Mouseketeers back in the day, here's your mission. Let's see if we can get Annette all connected into WikiTree. That's pretty cool. But I love the Mouseketeers. They're just, that was awesome. Now you're doing the original Mouseketeers. Are you doing?
So this is only the original again because, and in fact, we don't list all the Mouseketeers. These are only the deceased Mouseketeers, because again, the others are still private, and a lot of them after they dropped out of the Mickey Mouse Club didn't continue in show business, so they don't necessarily qualify as notables or because there were a number of cast members that were only kind of background dancers and and that kind of thing, so they weren't all top tier Mouseketeers, but we do list all of the deceased Mouseketeers, which there are quite a few. There's quite a few going back, and if you're, like you mentioned, if you're going to start adding in some of the behind the scenes people, there's quite a bit that you can add into WikiTree. Yeah, there's we're looking into adding some of the musical individuals, some of the the songwriters. There's some pretty big names there. So there's a number of ways that we can expand. We just haven't quite figured out which way we want to go yet. But again, if anybody has suggestions, it's really based on enthusiasm of the members. If there's something you want to do, let me know. I've put up some things that were not big hits, and then other things that were. So it just depends. It's no point in putting something up if nobody's going to be interested in it. But we don't know that unless people tell us.
That's a good point, because we have a couple questions about wanting to add the rescuers, things like that. So if there is something that you want to add, reach out to David, and I'm pretty positive that you could set it up for them and they could get working on doing the profiles, adding the profiles if they're not already in WikiTree, and in completing the checklist of what makes a perfect profile as well. So if you guys have any suggestions out there, any movies that you really, really love, then reach out to David. Now you've got me curious. So which one was a really, really big hit? Which one did most WikiTreeers embrace?
I think it was pretty much the further back we went, the more popular it was. So I think Snow White was our first one, and it's still probably the most popular. Snow White and Pinocchio both are completed as far as connections, so their entire casts are completed.
That's awesome.
I think Jungle Book got some extra support from members. I think that was a popular one. And then Winnie the Pooh was our last one, and that one, even if you're not a Disney fan, most people still like Winnie the Pooh.
You still
How
gotta
can
love
you
it.
not love Winnie the Pooh?
I know. How could you not? That's why I told him. I said I have my Eeyore mug tonight
Nice.
instead of my bingo mug, and I think my mug is at least minimum 20 years old. So
Yeah.
I mean, how could you? I find this project so fascinating. I know as a child, and this was some of my earliest memories. My dad was a police officer, but he would work as a security guard part-time at a local drugstore, and all the money that he had from the drugstore went into a vacation fund. And every year we would take that drive down from the Maryland area straight down to Disney. And I did not realize this because I was so young, but my brothers are like, we were some of the first ones at Walt Disney World. So for those of you watching, I will ask you the big question that I always fail. And let's see, who remembers the e-ticket rides at Walt Disney World?
Absolutely.
I always seem to
I grew up
fail.
in Southern California, so I probably, I could tell you where every restroom and every wastebasket at Disneyland is. So, and I definitely remember the e-ticket.
And that's pretty cool because you have a true passion for this project, and the passion and the knowledge as well. So if anybody has a movie or something that you're thinking, but don't reach out and see if we can add this in. This is a great project. And I won't lie to you, David. The reason why I also love this project is Disney gets searched a lot on Google and things like that. So the more profiles that we have in WikiTree and people searching on Google, they will come and find WikiTree and they'll see these beautiful profiles you had. Like we had Annette up, and let me bring her up again. And even though she's not connected, it's still a beautiful profile to see. And this gets us more people into WikiTree, more people helping us, and more people interested in examples.
So let me tell you a story about that just occurred this week. Eleanor Zellman was the voice of, and I don't know if I say her name correctly, but Maleficent,
Maleficent,
the witch in Sleeping Beauty, I believe. She also did this wicked stepmother in Cinderella. And if you've been to Disneyland and you've been on the Haunted Mansion ride, you'll remember the crystal ball with the woman's head inside.
Yeah,
it's telling your fortune. That's also the same woman. Her name's Eleanor Zellman. And last week I got an email from her nephew saying that he was Googling her name to find out some family history, came across WikiTree and saw her profile. Number one, was really impressed, but number two, she's not connected. And he had the connections we needed. She has Russian ancestry.
Really?
He had all that information. Cool. So we're now able to, I haven't been able to go on yet and do it, but we should be able to get her connected soon.
Her last name?
Her last name is Zellman.
Let me see if I can find it. Zellman. Oh, I'm not
what page are you on? You're on Classic Disney. So if you scroll down to either okay. So you're on a page we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah.
But if you alphabetize that by last name, she should be at the bottom.
Let's see. That is so cool.
And then I should talk about this page also. I think you passed her. Keep going. Go up. Go back up.
Okay.
Down to the Mouseketeers. So our voice actors are up above that. Right there at the bottom.
There we go. Yeah. That is so cool. You're right. I do see that face holding the ball.
Scroll down a little bit, and the viewers can see that. There's her in costume. And a little bit further, you'll see that her characters, and then the crystal ball should be below that. And there she is in the crystal ball.
How cool was that? That is awesome.
I had no idea that was the same person, but it was really cool.
And her nephew reached out.
And her nephew reached out, and her she didn't, if I recall, she didn't have siblings, or if she did, they didn't have connections. But he had all the aunts and uncles, and so we were able to get that. Her mother's name was Simmons, and that's a pretty common name, and we weren't able to figure out who she was, but he had all of that.
And again, I just want to point out that this is just such a beautiful profile. I love looking through profiles on WikiTree. This is a beautiful profile that has her in character and out of character, things that you probably remember as a child. Or if I think Erin said her kids are watching Disney right now, so if they're watching movies and stuff, you now know that Angelina Jolie, who plays I'm going to mess up the name, Maleficent. That this was the original actress for that. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And one of the things I always emphasize with all of my projects is it's not just about connecting them to the tree. It's also, I actually enjoy even more than doing the connecting is the biography writing and finding the pictures and making sure the sources are there, but making it something that if somebody from outside WikiTree were to come in, that they would enjoy, not just find the facts, but actually enjoy reading the narrative in the article.
I agree. I mean, this instantly draws your eye to it.
Yeah. So if you see that, a number of our profiles are already connected, but that doesn't mean there isn't still a lot of work that can be done to spruce them up and
definitely,
or connect them through other branches. If one branch is connected, there's still other branches that can be done. So there's a lot that can be done.
There's always WikiTree work to do, right?
Yeah. Now, if you go back to the page that you
this one.
So we have two ways that you can access our profiles. We have one page for each movie that we've added, and you can go there and you can link the cast members. But then we have this that is a summary of all 16 movies, plus the Mouseketeers, plus the animators. This lists everybody on everybody that we've linked a profile to. And you can see in the far right corner, there's a C if we've connected them. So if there's no C next to their name, that means that they're still unconnected. And you can scroll down. You can sort this by first name, last name, character name, movie name, date of birth, date of death. There's a number of ways to search it. But it lists everybody. And up at top are the 195 voice actors. The second group is our Mouseketeers, and then the third group. Something we didn't mention. Our third group is the animators. And then if you go all the way to the bottom, I believe. So these are the original authors of each of the movies
cool.
We're based on. So it has, I can't see the screen there, but let me pull up mine so I can read some of the names here.
The Grimms.
Well, you've got like a classic Lewis Carroll, who's Alice in Wonderland.
From Alice in Wonderland.
Jamberry.
We've got the Grimm brothers.
This is another interesting thing. David and I were talking about this briefly, and I know with some of the projects that I'm involved in, this happens too. That when you are involved with a WikiTree project, it's not as if you're in that silo and you don't go out. You go everywhere. So, for example, this is classic Disney, but if you notice, this is an England project, notable. So you do go and branch out. And what David was saying earlier, that a lot of these actors for Disney have immigrant families. So you're not just working on U.S. profiles. This is going to take a village, a global village, to complete and connect a lot of the Disney profiles to the main WikiTree.
And Disney hired a lot of some of them were immigrants, and some of them actually, stayed in their home country. They just came over to make the movie and went back. A lot of British, actors, like Julie Andrews and Mary Poppins and others. But I have a list that I made up. I just want to read it real quickly. So the Disney films that we've done, the cast members come from at least 15 countries outside the United States. And that's Australia, Austria, Brazil, British Guyana, Canada, England, Germany, Hungary, Mexico, the Netherlands, Panama, Rhodesia, which I believe is now Zimbabwe, Russia, Scotland, and Wales. If you go back another generation to their parents, we would also include Belgium, France, Ireland, Italy, Palestine, Poland, Sweden, and Turkey.
Wow.
So a lot of those are unconnected because the records are in countries outside the United States. But if any of those projects or people that work with those projects or just people with experience in any of those countries, there's a place for you over here at Disney because we're not all, some of these like Turkey and Palestine, there's probably not a lot of people that know how to research in those countries, which is why we don't have connection, part of the reason. So
and that's true. So it does take that global village to come in. And if anybody learns anything from this as well, there's two things that you can start a space page project, and we'll talk about that after the first bingo game. And that just because you're in a project, again, you're not in this certain little space. It goes and reaches everywhere. And help is always needed. So who's ready?
If anybody has a project that they'd like to start along these lines, I'm happy to help you get started with it. It's a little, if you don't know what you're doing, it's a little tricky at first, but once you get the template up, it's just filling in the blanks. So it's really simple. But if you have a movie or a sports team or a neighborhood, whatever it is you want to do, free space page, even if you want to keep it, just for your own use, that's great. But if you want to make it public and work with the team, it's a lot of fun.
Make it public. And I'll show you some examples too. Let's go ahead and play the first bingo card. I put it up. Everybody should be ready to go. A couple things about bingo is you can win by going down, vertical, or diagonal. The first person who gets bingo has to type the word bingo in the chat. If you have won in a previous bingo game, you are not eligible to win today, but we do really appreciate you joining us and playing along and having fun with us. And once you win the bingo, I'll tell you the next steps. So the very first bingo word phrase is Captain Hook. And Bambi, we lost Eowyn. Bambi might be one of the first movies I remember as a child seeing. Daisy Duck. I do believe, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe if you're at the parks themselves, Daisy Duck is one of the most elusive characters to find.
You what you said, I don't know that I've ever seen her there.
Yeah. Apparently you have to be really, really, really short. Thumper from Bambi. Love Thumper. And Minnie Mouse. Pluto. Sleeping Beauty. And to me, some of these older movies, they just had the more charm in them than all the graphic ones now. Goofy. And you guys let us know if you're close. Oh, Steven's 2 away. Eeyore. I happen to have my Eeyore mug. People do tend to hold on to Disney things. Not necessarily, I mean, they've got the collectible side, but then I've also got my favorite mug, my favorite shirt. Pinocchio. I don't know. Steven is 2 away so quick. He got lucky. Tinkerbell. Jiminy Cricket. Alice, and I assume that would be Alice in Wonderland. Oh, Eileen, you're very close. Oh, Stephen got it. Stephen got the bingo. Congratulations, Stephen. I like it. This guy.
And I'm noticing here that Stephen asked a lot of questions along the way.
You did. Stephen, let me tell you how to get your bingo prize. What you want to do is you want to email Eowyn. And what will happen is once you want to tell her that you won the classic Disney bingo #1, and she will get you hooked up with what you can get as a prize. I believe it's up to $30 from the WikiTree's store. There's t-shirts, there's mugs, and I will tell you that this mug, the bingo mug, kind of got a little bit of a shadow here, has been the most popular mug since Eowyn created this logo for us. So make sure to go ahead and email her and she'll get you all hooked up. Now let me come back to some of the comments. So let's see. So he won from Goofy, Tinkerbell, Bambi, Captain Hook, and Pinocchio.
Nice.
Steven got one too, but cannot claim. So congratulations. And let me scroll back up. So, but Steven says he can raise his hand and help you for Germany. And there are a lot of overlapping circles on WikiTree for projects. There definitely are. Okay, so here we go. Can we use images available in Wikipedia if they are under fair use? That's an A1 question.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was going to say, please say yes, because
I know
do.
my understanding, but I don't know if I want to go on record with it.
And so only the animated films or adding the live action films like Shaggy Dog series.
So that is something. Yeah, that's something we've talked about. We're not sure which direction we want to go at this point, whether we want to continue with animated films, which again gets us into living personalities, so limits the ability of members to edit. But also the other option that we've talked about mostly is adding some of the popular live action films. We do have on the Mouseketeers page, we do have a couple actors from live action films, but they're not actually linked to their films. But we put a couple up by request. But I think that's probably the direction we would go next, is with some of the live action.
Okay, now I want to bring up, since we did talk, let me go ahead and give you guys the Bingo 2 card and let you get situated and set up with that. And while you do that, I do want to bring up the projects, because this one is a perfect example of the projects. Let me bring my screen back up. So to create a project, they're all going to start basically as a space page project. So you just come up to add in your new project. Now, David has really done a fabulous job with the U.S. governors and also with the classic Disney, and you can see how detailed they are. And what you keep in mind that this is a space page project, so don't be scared. You're not creating that super duper high level project at this point. You're creating something that you think others might have an interest in, as well as yourself, and want to join together. And one of the examples I want to bring up is I am totally blown away by this particular space page project page as well, the Indiana Jones franchise. So here we have John has created the Indiana Jones project page, and he did it by just coming up and clicking add and project. And you can see he's got it a little bit different. He's working it just on a smaller scale, but he's adding in the films and then the actors as they pretty much come available. You want to try and avoid the living ones, except for the big names. Of course, Harrison Ford is pretty big.
Right. Yeah, and I would suggest, start out small, and you can expand it as you go along, but keep it within something that you feel you can manage. And it's often best if you have kind of a closed theme. So like on this page, it's strictly Indiana Jones, as opposed to, say, famous movie stars, which could get you into thousands of people. And there's no real.
He also has what's great here is, so I know there are a lot of other fans of Star Trek. There's Star Wars that people have started. James Bond, it needs a little bit more work to buff it up, I think, but the films of Mel Brooks. So as David just said, if you have a special fondness for something, start small and bring it into WikiTree. You'll find that there are a lot of people that share your fondness, but you got to also let people know about this. And the way to do that is G2G. And I think I have one up. Let me see. This is an example that David uses for G2G. He lets them know, everybody know that, hey, we're going to work on this month. And it doesn't have to be a monthly thing. Like David mentioned, he's now working on everybody just join in and help out. So if you have something like Steven does, post it on G2G and say who wants to help out. And I agree. Start small.
Yeah, you don't have to do, every, crew member and gopher and, makeup artists and stuff on the set. You can just start with your cast members and then expand from there. Again, I started the Disney project just with the Snow White cast. It was probably 12 people. And then it just grew month by month from there.
Because who doesn't love Disney? I mean, we've all seen Disney. I think our parents, made sure we saw Disney so we didn't get FOMO, the fear of missing out because the neighbor's kid was going to Disney or watching Disney movies. So we had to too.
Well, I think it would be fun. I've got my hands full, but for other people interested in sports, to create a sports team like the Brooklyn Dodgers, or even if you just go with 1 year, the year you were born or the year you graduated from high school, the Cowboys, the Bears, again, you want to go back to an era where the team members aren't all still alive, but you go back to some of the 50s and 60s teams.
Do we have a Super Bowl category from the beginning?
That would be a cool one.
Yeah, that would be somebody wants to
Olympic
start that.
teams.
The Marvel one is, you would definitely get a lot for Marvel. The only problem, well, there are some notables that are still living on that you can attach to Marvel, but I think a lot of the Marvel, unless you go back to the comic, but a lot of the actors are still alive.
Yeah, I do know there's a Harry Potter page, and there's also a Rocky Horror Picture Show page.
Oh, that's another good one.
A number of their people are alive, but if you're creating the page and you can get the parents or the grandparents on, then people can take it from there as well.
And here's somebody that mentioned that they would do a Packers one but couldn't manage it. I would recommend you take David's suggestion, start small, maybe take 1 year that they were there. And as far as managing it, it's not a lot of management. It's just put it out there on G2G, have others help you, and you'll find that it does kind of go along and manage itself in a lot of ways. You would just need to probably keep track of who's adding who.
Yeah, I don't do much management, and what I tell people is just jump in and do whatever you want to do. You don't have to get approval. You don't have to be officially a member. They're all open profiles. Anybody can work on them. We do ask that you just keep us posted so that we can enjoy your progress and get a sense of community on G2G. But since there's no real rules or requirements people have to follow, I don't have to do a lot of work. Periodically answering a couple questions, but.
And you're not building out a lot of categories or anything like that. It's mostly about the profiles.
Yeah.
It's profile driven. And so when you go, for those of you that are thinking about doing something like this and that are in other projects, you notice a lot of the higher end, upper end projects do have like a bazillion categories that go through approval process and things like that. This is profile driven. This is all profile. Make a perfect profile like we've seen tonight with the biography, with the sources, with the photos, and connect them together, say, first Super Bowl or, the first World Series. I don't even know the dates of those, but I'm pretty sure there's not too many living for either of those going on. Okay, now, I'm sorry, David.
I was going to say, we did have a question earlier on about the notables, and for people that don't work with the notables category, a notable in simplistic terms is somebody basically who has a Wikipedia page. There are a few other ways that we can define a notable, such as being in a who's who of their country. But generally, the criteria we use is if they meet the criteria for Wikipedia, then they meet the criteria for WikiTree. And then we have living notables are private, just like anybody else. Unless they have, if we can show that they have Wikipedia pages in 3 languages, then we can move them to, I don't recall what it's called, but it's the yellow level, which is a semi-private, which means people can see the profile, but they can't edit it. So if you're doing like a current, baseball team and everybody's still alive, nobody's going to be able to, well, some of them, nobody will be able to even see the profile. But even if we can make it viewable, nobody's going to be able to edit it. So that's why we talk about doing deceased notables versus, and it's just like any other, even, private notables. Your living relatives go private. They don't go public.
It makes it easier too, I think, as a project to come together if they're open and you can see them as well. So that's why any of you thinking about starting with a movie, a sports theme, astronauts, anything like that, go way back. Go way back and start the beginning, and that'll help you out. Okay, Dan, does everybody have their bingo? Yeah, that's true. If everybody has their bingo card, let me see if let me bring it up. This should be our bingo trivia. But it is not bringing up the trivia part for some reason. So let me go ahead and bring it up to full screen. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. It's not letting me do the trivia part. So we'll help you out with it, I guess. It's kind of sad because the trivia part was kind of fun for the Disney songs. So for Enchanted, the movie, we had the Happy Working song. Now, which one of you two know how to sing and going to sing the songs for us?
Well,
I don't know that song, though.
I don't know what song that is. That's a movie I've not seen.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen Enchanted.
And then, let's see. So for Pinocchio,
what was the song?
It's Give a Little Whistle.
Oh, yeah.
So we can ask who sang the song.
That's true. I don't know that one though.
Who sang Give a Little Whistle?
Was that?
That would have been Jiminy Cricket, I believe.
And the Brave song was Touch the Sky.
Seen the movie, but don't know the song.
Fantasia, I think everybody would have probably have gotten this one. It was Dance of the Reed Flute.
Oh, yeah.
And
you know who the only voice character in Fantasia was?
Walt?
Well, he did the voice.
Yeah.
You know, who was the character?
Oh, I don't know.
It was Mickey Mouse.
Oh, yeah. I thought that would be too simple to say that. Okay.
Nope.
The Fox and the Hound was Best of Friends. See,
so I cried too much at the end of this movie, and my parents had to take me out of the theater.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, he mentioned, and I don't have this movie. He mentioned Old Yeller, and I go, "Oh no, I can't work on Old Yeller." I can see that.
Yeah.
This movie was, these Disney movies, they're not all sunshine. Some of them hit you really hard.
Yeah, my parents took me to see Old Yeller in the drive-in theater, and that was a hard one to watch it at that age.
Yeah. I don't know if I could. Yeah. Aristocrats is everybody wants to be a cat.
Hi ho.
Yeah. You got it. So that was IO. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And this is kind of interesting because this is where David was talking about kind of moving away from full animation, and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea was a whale of a tale. And anybody remember who the lead actor was in that one?
No.
He has a son.
Yeah.
The Hollywood
son,
Dynasty.
Ferris Bueller's dad. Is that right? Was it?
Oh,
Matthew Broderick's dad?
Oh, yeah.
no.
Wasn't it?
No, it was Kirk
James,
Douglas.
no. You're right. You're right.
Yeah,
It wasn't him.
It was who?
Mason. James Mason.
Kirk Douglas.
Oh,
I think it was in
Kirk Douglas.
20,000 Leagues. Cinderella.
Um,
I gotta find my notes.
I'm trying to think of songs that were in there.
Bibbidi bobbidi boo.
But yeah, that's the only
That's the one I should have had. Where is it on our list? There you go. A Dream is a Wish.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I forgot about that one. Sleeping Beauty. And this was one that you have up already to work on, right, David?
Yes, we have that one.
Sleeping Beauty. I remember the movie, but I don't remember where I saw some of these movies at. And I know it wasn't on TV like it is now. And I wonder, was Sleeping Beauty?
Well, now a lot of these were re-released.
They're
so
necessities.
Yeah. I love that. Now I'm going to sing this all night and all weekend long.
I've got the bare necessities.
I think that's not the best music of any of the
I think you're right.
movies.
Oh, Go the Distance or something like that.
I don't know Hercules.
I didn't know Hercules. Yep, Go the Distance. You got it. We have got a Disney fan here. The Lion King.
There are many options.
Yeah.
Hakuna
What would you guys
Matata.
say the most popular
Hakuna
Lion
Matata.
King one is? Song is.
Hakuna Matata is probably
Hakuna
the most
Matata.
popular, but also the
I would if my dog wasn't sleeping,
What's
I'd give you a
the-
demonstration. It
the
involves
theme
this.
song. Yeah, I don't know the name of the song. Circle of Life.
Circle of Life. Yeah. I
Yeah.
may or may not have done that with my dog several times.
It's hard to resist that urge.
Every time it comes on, everybody grab their cat or their dog.
We got a bingo. Hey, is that
We
person
do.
related to you?
Oh, I don't know. Can family win bingo?
Yeah.
We will see. I did say bring your friends and family, didn't I? So what was it that you got bingo? Oh yeah, Hakuna Matata is really good too. And I like Circle of Life. We didn't even get to Chim Chimmery. So what
I'm
I'll do,
sad.
I will tell you guys the song and you guys see if you can guess it. So we got Chim Chimmery.
Mary Poppins.
Love that one. I love that one. Baby Mine.
Dumbo.
Good.
That's another sad movie. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
that one's tough. A Spoonful of Sugar.
Mary Poppins.
Yep, Mary Poppins, y'all. He's a Tramp.
Lady and the Tramp.
Yeah, that one gives it away.
Yeah. This was so popular when I was in high school. I'm dating myself. Under the Sea.
Oh, yeah. Little Mermaid.
And then we already said Hakuna Matata. And A Whole New World.
Aladdin.
Yep. I got to make some of these a little bit more difficult for you guys. Okay, how about this one? Looking for Romance.
Looking for Romance?
You'll laugh when you hear it. It is Bambi.
Oh my gosh, really?
Bambi? Yeah, I
Yeah.
know that one.
Okay,
Where?
let me give you some easy ones. Be our guest.
Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, Beauty and Beast. Love that one too. That one's.
That's
I
cool.
even out like the live version of it, or the I guess non-animated version. You
I still
can
have to watch that.
you can fly. You can fly.
Peter Pan.
Peter Pan, and the one that they happen to have a Disney night at our hockey games every year, and this is the one hockey game my son is guaranteed to not go to, and the song is, and they play it every year. Let It Go.
Oh my gosh, no. They need to let that song go.
I agree. So that's the one. Susan, we already had a bingo winner, and what we were doing is just finishing some of the trivia up that was going on. So yeah, I agree. It was, and the all the princesses come out. They have all the Disney princesses come out on the ice and they sing it, Let It Go. And my son, from the time he was 8 till now he's over 20, he still won't go. If he has to hear that song, he will not go at all. Well, do you guys have any questions for us about the classic Disney project? This was a fun one.
If you have questions later on or you want to join up, you can go to G2G and look for our post there, or just post a new post and tag it to Notables, and I'll see it.
Well, let me ask you: should they also tag Disney? Will that
classic Disney? Yeah, that'll do it. Classic _ Disney, and that'll take us there. Or you could post on one of our free space pages, post a message, and that'll get to me as well.
That's a great idea. Now remember, next Friday is Friday date night at your regular scheduled time. Don't forget, and we'll go out and date some profiles. And then in 2 weeks, you'll see us, and we've got some really awesome projects there, because we've got Jewish Roots coming at the noon Eastern time frame for bingo. And it's a project that's just came back and is really starting to dig in and work. And then at the start of Black History Month, so we'll have the USBH, United States Black History, at the 6 p.m. So don't forget, next week is Friday date night, and then back for bingo for a prize. And thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.